You're listening to the Global Uj podcast, where every week we learn about the world through the eyes of entrepreneurship. With your host, Ujwal Velagapudi.
The ultra-rich have people they hire to manage their money, like a wealth management firm. Flavia Becker and her co-founders had seen that the market only catered to the wealthy in her home country of Peru. There was no option for the average citizen to invest their savings and have it professionally managed. Flavia is the co-founder of Zest Capital, a wealth management solutions provider that was founded in 2016. They've already exceeded over $100 million in investment funds and have grown at a pace of over 100% this year. We had a great conversation on providing investment accessibility to citizens, expanding to other countries within Latin America, and on the possibilities of raising capital in the future. Thank you so much, Flavia, for joining us here today. Appreciate you joining the Global Uj podcast.
Thank you, Ujwal. It's my pleasure.
Could you give us a little bit of a background on yourself and prior to you starting Zest Capital in Peru?
Yeah, of course. I studied business administration here in Peru. And after that, I started working in the financial sector locally. Then I went to Uruguay to also in the financial sector. Then I stayed there for 2 years. Then I went to Cyprus, working also for 6 months. When I had the idea to come back to Latin America with a business partner and start our own company. So that's what we did with a coworker that I met in Uruguay. So we came here and we partnered with a third party, and we started Zest Capital. So because our idea with Zest was to democratize private banking in Peru. Here in Peru and in most of Latin America, there are a few banks, huge banks, that control all the financial sector, insurance, credit, mortgage, savings, etc. And so the investment sector specifically, only the high net worth people have access to quality investments. And the ordinary people, the low income people, middle class, they only have basic savings account. They don't have any good investment choices. So that's what we wanted. We wanted to give excellent investment choices to this middle class and affluent investors.
Okay. And so was it any situation in Uruguay that had caused you to start this or have this idea? Or was it just the way things were back in Peru and you just saw that this was a huge gap in the market?
Yes, while I was working in Uruguay, I had clients all over Latin America. And what I saw is that they wanted to invest, but they didn't know how. They didn't know where, how, they didn't have any help. The banks weren't helping them because they were not profitable. So these people that had 10K, 5K US dollars to invest, they had no help at all what to choose. So it was I realized it was a huge market.
So just so I understand a little bit better, Zest Capital, it's not a bank, it's not an advisory firm either, right?
No, it's a fund management firm.
So I have 10K. Let's say I'm a local Peruvian citizen and I put $10,000 into your fund. And so can you walk me through what that process looks like as a consumer? I come to you and if you can walk me through that entire process, please.
Yeah, of course. We have a lot of technology, so our costs are very low. That's why we can offer good investments to these people. So if you are a customer, you probably came referred by some other customer or some of the people that sell our fund. We don't do any publicity or digital marketing, any of that. It's all mouth to mouth and with the referral programs. So you come to us. There is a salesperson that will get you through all the investment choices. Our salesmen are also people that have economic background, so they know what we're selling. It's not just salesperson that is selling any other fund. They know what we're selling, so they can really show you where your money will be. We invest in structured products, all in Europe and US and Japan and China. So we don't invest anything locally. It's all internationally. And we go through that. You sign an online agreement, then you wire your funds to the fund bank account, and then you will receive a lot of information, mostly educational. So you'll receive, of course, you have your platform where you can access live to how your account is, how much money you're making. You'll receive your monthly um, dividends. All our investments pay dividends and or coupons. So you will receive also the monthly blog, a monthly or bi-monthly um, uh, information about the stocks that are in your structured products, how it's going, what's happening with Trump, what's happening in China, a lot of information, mostly daily market updates, how the market's open, how is the US and the Peruvian coin currency going, a lot of information. Yeah.
Okay. And so would you say there's zero physical presence? This is all done through the software, through the technology and the platform that you guys have created. And once I engage, then somebody calls me and then I deposit the cash, then my cash, and then this is all done 100% online.
No, it's not 100% online because the get to know us part, people like to come to our office, have a coffee. Just like 99% of the clients like to know someone physically, Now with the pandemic, we were surprised because we continue our sales through Zoom and all these meeting platforms. It was a surprise to us. We didn't know, we didn't think we were going to keep up the sales, but we did. But now that is the lockdown is more, it's less frequent here, so people are starting want to meet again, but yes, this the first part is 100. It has to be most of the time present, and then online information.
Okay. And so you said we invest in Europe and Japanese market and the Asian market. So are these public equities all over completely internationally?
Is structured products by banks, like structured notes.
Okay, so you're purchasing notes.
Exactly. Yes, and the stocks that are in these products are mostly from US, Europe, and Asian market.
Okay. And so I go and speak with the advisor, and do they have different selection profiles where maybe a 22-year-old recent college graduate may look at investing a little bit differently with, let's say, $10,000 rather than somebody that's 60 years old and close to retirement? So depending on our risk tolerance, so are those preferences and the risk tolerances all baked in? And do you have various classes or structures where we can invest in?
Yes, of course. We have like 5 different structures, and they're always open. We're every month we open a new one, but we always keep like 3 to 5 open so people can make choices on where to invest. And of course, they have different aggressiveness in the investment. So we have, when we first meet the customer, we ask them a few questions, 5 to 10 questions, just to get to know them, their profile. We talk a lot to them, and what are your previous experiences? What do you want to get with this money? Do you need it, or you can leave it there for a few years? And with all that information, we say, okay, we recommend this or this to you, and then the client itself makes the choice.
So how does the liquidity work, or is there any liquidity to it, and what does that lockup period look like?
Okay, so another differentiation from us with the banks is that we don't have any lockdown period and any fees, no hidden fees. The client can withdraw his money whenever he wants with a 1 week announcement. In 1 week, you'll get your money.
Really? Okay. And as far as the returns that investors have been averaging on the norm, I know you have multiple different classes and structures, but what would you say on average the various targets or ranges have been over the past few years?
Okay, so we have products that will give you 5% annually, up to 18%. But I believe that the average that we have been giving clients is 9 to 10% a year.
Okay. Oh, wow. And that's outside of the fees and everything that's true net to the investor that they're actually taking home?
The fee that we say to the client is the net fee. We never say, oh, it's 10, but then we'll have one of these. We say net 10 for you.
And so are you accepting any foreign investors or investments outside of Peruvian citizens over there?
We have some Latin American clients that with tax agreements between countries, they don't have overtax. So they got to us because they know someone in Peru and they invest with us, but we're not seeking international clients. We are planning our expansion to Colombia and Mexico for 2021.
Okay. And so can you go through that? So if you're seeking that expansion, what kind of mental framework does the company go through right now? You and your co-founders, what are you going through? What are you looking at? What in particular entice you to go to those two countries? And how does that process even look like to start in Colombia and Mexico?
Okay, so we did a lot of research. We went there. We met a lot of fund investment companies, banks, lawyers, and accountants, and we got to realize that the market is very similar with Peru. So they have the same issues with the regulators, with the competition. The investors have the same issues. There are not a lot of choices, and it's expensive. But in terms of sizes, Colombia is a little bit bigger, but Mexico is like 10 times bigger. So we want to go first to Mexico and then to Colombia.
13, 14. Okay. And so your overall client profile right now, you're talking about these are people that are not able to invest. Would you say it's the smaller amount, your normal citizens, your lower income citizens that are not able to invest with these large corporations?
No, it's mostly middle class, but affluent people that have savings, that are able to save money. I mean, they get their salary and they spend, but they also can save money.
1348. Okay. And so typically in Peru, it's always the very affluent that can only have wealth management team or the ultra high net worth individuals that have those means.
Yes. From $500,000 you can access to these banks.
That's interesting. And so when you first started, what was that process like to be able to get your first 10 clients, let's say? Was it just friends and family were flocking to you guys because this is a new service that's first time open to everyone at that point? Or how were you able to get those first couple clients?
No, we didn't have any friends and family investing. We didn't want to mix that. Money with family is not always a good decision. So we had a lot of meetings. I mean, like 10 meetings a day when we first arrived, getting to know everybody here in the market, getting referrals, and getting this referral system where you get a commission for every client that you bring to us. So we were looking, who are the ones that are doing this, that are selling on the streets, insurance, other funds, international insurance, who are people that saying that. So we got to them one by one and they started trusting us a bit, trusting us little by little, and then bringing a bit more clients every time.
Okay. So yeah, you had touched on this before. So you're not going necessarily directly to the consumer. You're going through some of these other firms that are advising the consumers directly, like maybe the accountants or the folks that are selling insurance policies and various other advisors.
Exactly. Yeah, financial advisors. That's what we're seeking mostly.
And do you have anything in mind to go directly to the consumer, where it's marketing directly online through either TV or digital media and seeking them out 100% direct? Is that, or is that not a model that you think would work well in your local market?
Okay, so the regulation is very tough here, and we don't have that regulation to be able to have marketing on the TV and the radio and all that stuff. So that's why we went through this other channel. While we already have our application to be able to do the public offering, but we still don't have it, so we're waiting for that. And once we have it, we will be able to start mostly with digital marketing within.
Can you go into that regulatory piece again? It's a permission or it's a license to be able to offer these to the public?
Yes, it's a public offering license, basically.
Okay, that makes sense. And is that pretty rigorous and challenging to get? Or and you can only do it now after building this sort of track record?
So if you are going one by one, you don't need this license. But if you want to make it public and put on the TV, you can get 10% with us, you have to have this license. It's rigorous and a little bit expensive, so we waited until we have the money to pay for it. Now we paid, and we're waiting now for all the regulation. And as there is it's very small, the market here, everybody knows us, and there are a lot of companies that don't want us to get this license because we're very competitive.
And so how have you come across that? Because you guys are the new startup in town, and a lot of these firms, you said, if it's a small market, everybody knows each other. So do you think, is there any sort of political influence, financial influence, lobbying power with the regulators, or are there any other negative influences coming down besides just a team looking at your application and saying yes or no? Do you think there's external influence over there?
Yes, of course, from the competitors mostly. They're very big, huge companies here in Peru, and they have access to the regulators, right? Because people that work in the regulators now, before they work in these big companies, so everybody, they're friends.
Ex-colleagues. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And are you finding that with going to Colombia and Mexico as well, in those two countries? I mean, do you see, obviously those are geographically pretty distant as well, and Mexico especially, are you seeing even across Latin America, the regulation aspect is similar, or in terms of trying to do business in those countries?
Yes, it's very similar. That's why we're contacting lawyer firms specialized in financial services and financial markets, so they can help us know which is the best way to go.
And so you're doing this on one side with trying to be able to scale to different countries, but then how about scaling your own team? Can you go through a little bit about who your first hire was? Obviously, you had the 3 co-founders, but then the first person was somebody. I'm wondering, would it be somebody in the financial world or somebody that was very technical and you needed the development team to be able to build out the platform? So who did you hire first, and how's your team look today?
Yeah. So I'm more financial in terms of a CFO, and my co-founder was the CEO, I'm sorry, but he's very commercial, so he was in the streets, selling and selling and selling. And our other co-founder is also like that. So both of them were on the streets all the time while I was in the company and the office, like making the agreements and checking financials and okay, this is the commission we can pay, and talking to providers, etc., and making the CRM system, a little bit of everything. And so after that, we said, okay, we need more commercial people. So we hired two, and it's very difficult to find, commercial people with economic background. It was very difficult, and we wanted young people. Then we hired analysts, so they can check the market for the information we had to send to our clients. And we built that part of the company a lot. So we had a lot of analysts, mostly graduates, nearly graduates from the university. Then we hired a CIO that will help all of them, and also our back office. Our back office was the last part that grew in her company. It was mostly investment and analyst, and then commercial, and the back office. Because we had all these systems, we didn't hire a CTO. We until now we don't have anybody in technology in our company, because we hired a company, a Brazilian company, that made the system for us. So they keep the system working.
Do you, in the long term, plan on taking that in-house or having even one internal technical person? Or is that something, we're not a technical company, let's leave that to the experts and have them focus on it? We'll focus on the financial aspect of serving our clients.
Yeah, that's our vision now. We have a company that manage for us the CRM and keep it working, and the system for the investments and the platform for the clients. So they are the experts on that. Let's keep, as you said, on what we know and focus on that.
As far as the client demographic, what does that look like exactly? You said we wanted very young analysts. We're young commercial folks with economic degrees. Is that because your clients, or the clients that you were seeking to target, were also, let's say, in that younger demographic? Or what does that client makeup look like today?
Our average client is a male that has 50 years old. So we don't have a lot of young people, young clients, but they wanted young workers, and because we think it's, our culture is young. We have a cool culture, and very very techy, and but we didn't want somebody that already have their work established. I work like this, don't bother me. We want something that we could raise, so they will work and adapt to us as they learn how to work.
Okay. And so going back to the physical element of the business, so you said everybody's coming in, meeting with our team. So does that mean that you have multiple branches throughout Peru, or is it a singular office where you guys are located within Peru? And then as you expand into Colombia and Mexico, are you looking to have, especially in Mexico, they're so large, is it just starting with a few of the largest cities and then expanding, or what's your plan in those two countries as well?
Okay, so Peru is a very centralized country. Everything is in Lima, the capital. There are a few cities that also have good economics, but most is in Lima. So we have one office here. We recently opened another one we call it Zest Cafe. So there, it's more like a co-working office, or you have coffee and meet with the clients, and we make some events, that it's still on pause because of the pandemic, but we wanted to open it in February, but it still hasn't opened. We hope to open it this year. But we have our headquarters here, the office, and it has like 3 meeting rooms, one big and two small, because clients were there all the time, and also these our advisors. We had 2 days a week. We teach them, what's happening in the market. This is the new product that we open, so we keep them very educated on our products.
Okay, interesting. And as far as when you guys first started, you came back from Uruguay, you had gone to Peru. How'd you do that? How did those early days really look like for the first 6 months, that first 1 year? Was it completely bootstrap to get this off the ground and running? Because you had 3 people, and was 3 even enough, especially in the early days? Or at some point, did you take on any funding to help scale further, even over the course of the last few years?
Okay, so for the first year, it was just the 3 of us. The first 6 months of planning the business, getting to know the market, and the other 6 months starting the business from the ground, with a little bit of money from our savings. And we didn't have any salary. We were like eating our savings, so we didn't have any money. And then for the next year, under second year running, we hired a few people, but we didn't still have any salary. It was on our third year running that we said, okay, now we have to get a salary, or I don't have what to eat. But we didn't, because of that, because we were very careful with the money, we didn't have to go seeking for funding. Until now, we had no funding. It was all from the first seed money that we put to the company, and we grew with our own legs.
Really? Oh, wow. That's pretty amazing. Well, was that on purpose to say, let's not go get funding? Or was it more so maybe the local ecosystem, it's tough to find funding? Or what was that mindset in regards to raising capital? And then how about right now? Do you have any plans to take on any additional funding to grow maybe at a higher rate than what you've been able to organically?
So at the beginning, it was very difficult. So we didn't even think about it, because we knew we're go through a wall. So, but then we were growing, and there were people that came to us and said, okay, I want to invest, but we knew the potential the company had, and so if we sell it now, even a bit, we'll be losing money. So I said, no, let's keep working. We still have room to work, to grow alone. And this year, because of the pandemic, the government started giving loans, very, very cheap loans for small companies and middle companies. So we got loans from the government on this program, and that gave us a good boost for this year. So this year, I think we grew 100% from last year. And yes, so yeah, maybe next year that we want to go to Mexico, we'll be looking for funding maybe.
And how is that local ecosystem? I'm sure after being there for 4 years, being in the market, you have a lot of eyes on your company right now. So do you think right now, because of the track record of doing so well with your clients, that it'll be much easier to go to an investor? And then how is the local angel or the VC ecosystem there to be able to actually get funding?
Yes, we think that because of our track record, investors will trust more our company, especially because it's an investment company. So they were afraid, how do I know that you know how to invest people's money? But now we have a good track record, and also we will get this regulation. With this regulation, it will be a lot easier to get funding, and our company will this valuation will grow. That's what we are rating also. And well, the angel investors and private equity funds here, it's a market that's been growing in the last few years. There have been companies from the US that opened a branch here, or international funds that are looking to invest in Peruvian startups. So yeah, it has been growing these years, and I think that if we seek for it, we will get it. We will get a value, but we want first to grow our valuation. And yes, there are funds that have very small tickets, like 50K. They're looking for small companies, and there are others that want like 1 million. So we're like in the in between. We want to grow a bit more to get those big funds.
So to raise money, are you looking primarily within the local markets, or is there any possibility to say, we'll just go straight to the US, Silicon Valley, and we'll go talk directly with those investors? And like you were saying, there's a few local branches of the US entities within Peru as well. So would you say it's a pretty decent ecosystem, and is it pretty easy to be able to get the funding if you are really seeking it out and want it?
Yes, we're looking for the local branches, like for a Series A, a first investment, and after that, depending on our valuation growth, we'll go to the US Silicon Valley. Mhm.
Okay. And are there other countries that you've been able to identify within Latin America that you can say, you know what, we can do the exact same thing in their market? Because I'm thinking Mexico is probably one of the biggest markets within Latin America. And then, Brazil, is that an opportunity? Or even some of these other countries? Are they also another opportunity? Or are they already developed in terms of what you're looking to be able to provide potential clients?
Brazil is like 10 steps forward Peru, so they already have these structured funds like for years now. The competition is very hard there, so, and also it's not a dollarized company. I mean, they have a lot of restrictions with dollar investments, so we're not looking to Brazil right now. And the Chilean market is similar to Peru, but also very uh, a lot more sophisticated. So we identify that Mexico and Colombia are still like in pair with Peru, and but yes, Chile is also like a third company that we'll be looking for.
Interesting. And then what about opening to, for example, a US citizen like myself, if I want to go and invest? Because when you said 18%, that sounds pretty attractive to me. I'm sure there's so many difficulties with taking money from another country, like especially like the US with taxation and with regulations, the exchange rates and whatnot. So was that your primary reason for saying for not accepting those funds, or is it just not worth it for you guys to explore that as an opportunity as well at this stage right now?
Yeah, so the US, as you said, there are a lot of restrictions, and regulations. So we were looking for with countries that have tax agreements with Peru, where the taxation will be the same, like Mexico, Colombia, Chile, some Argentina. So that's why, mostly because of the cost and taxation for the investors.
Okay. And you said there's a common agreement. What is that? There's no taxation between those countries, or like some sort of agreement?
Yes, it's the MILA agreement. It's between Colombia, Mexico, Chile, and Peru. And there are also the Mercosur agreement with Brazil and Argentina. So there are a lot of agreements between these countries.
Okay. So you can earn money in one country, live in another country, and still the taxation is going to be comparable and carry over pretty easily.
Yeah, depending on the asset. Depending on the asset, you don't have a double taxation. Mhm.
Okay. And then during the time of COVID, especially in 2020, as a company investing your clients' money in your overall fund, how has it been to invest? Because the market has been extremely volatile. And even in the notes market, there could be a higher default rate. So have you seen that? And how has that impacted your business, as it has, I'm sure, been more volatile and potentially more defaults in some of those products?
First, the dollar is more valuable right now against the Latin American currencies. So a lot of our clients are changing their money and buying dollars. Here in Peru, it's very easy to have dollars. So that's a plus for us because you have dollars, so your money is getting more valuable. And as our investments are in dollars, people also get money there. And it has been good for us because we first the markets went really down, so we had a lot of buying opportunities, and now they're up. So our clients made a lot of money in very short time, and so we're seeking, to get more of these blue chip companies now that the market's so high, and with the elections happening. So we evaluate our investments between what's the macroeconomic news, and what are the risks that our clients are willing to take.
Okay. And as you guys grow, are you planning on any other investments within, like you said, the blue chip companies, but besides that, maybe into real estate or into other funds that invest into real estate or, alternative assets for your clients?
Yeah, we recently opened a private equity fund this year, and we started with money from our own, from the partners, and we're making a few tests. We bought already participation into companies, and we want to see how it goes before we start selling it to customers.
Okay. And that's going to be local, the PE fund? It's going to purchase portions of companies within Peru.
Yeah. In Peru, we bought pieces of a company in Brazil. And yes, we want to be between Brazil and Peru. One of our co-founders is Brazilian, so we know a lot of the market.
Okay, and so one co-founder is Brazilian, one is Peruvian, and the other co-founder is from Uruguay?
Peruvian.
Oh, Peruvian.
Peruvian.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Yeah, that's super cool. That's extremely exciting, especially when not having to take funding all these years and still being profitable and being able to hire out your team. I saw that you guys were also the number one fintech company in terms of the business volume and the income generated within Peru. So what are those metrics looking like exactly, and what's it mean that you have the most volume of investable assets going through your platform into your fund, or can you go into that?
Yes. Between the buys and sells that we make, and the money invested in our funds, we have the most volume between all the other fintechs. Also, but we are the only wealth management fintech in Peru. Most of the fintechs are exchange rate fintechs or payment methods, and lending and all this stuff. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's amazing. And is there a certain milestone that you guys have hit recently, especially this year or the course of a few years?
Yeah, we wanted to reach by the end of the year $100 million in volume, but we reached it like 2 months ago, so we're very happy about it. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Congrats. Yeah. And so that was over the past few years?
Yeah, since the beginning, since 2016. Yeah.
And I'm sure that once you go to Colombia and go to Mexico and, reaching 10 times that to the $1 billion mark will just come that much easier, would you say? Like, I'm sure the first 10 million was so much more difficult than going from 10 million to 100 million, right?
Yeah. Yes, it took us like 2 years to get to 10 million. And from that 2 years to get to 100 million.
Wow. So in 2 years, when we talk again, you'll be right around the $1 billion mark at least.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. But yeah, Flavia, thank you so much again for chatting with me today and kind of going through just the process of not taking funding. I think that's something that a lot of people right off the bat when they're starting a company think that it's a necessity to take funding. But obviously you guys have shown that it's not a requirement as long as you have profitable business model, you can make it happen. You can grow naturally and organically. So, and like you guys have, like you just said, you guys have grown at 100% rate this year. So you can still have substantial growth organically. And when you need it, when you're looking to expand into 2 or 3 different countries, you know that at that point you can take that on. But also love what you guys are able to do, seeing the gap in the market where, you know, your clients right now previously were not being addressed. And so jumping on that opportunity, there was a significant gap where a common person could not invest into a profitable fund or a vehicle to be able to get good returns. So, yeah, I absolutely love that and what you guys are able to do, and excited to see how many more countries you guys are able to get into. And if you ever open it up to US investors, I'd definitely be there.
Thanks to you, Ujwal.
Thank you so much for listening to the show this week. Please do leave a comment on your thoughts about today's episode, and make sure to hit subscribe to get the latest on the Global Uj. Or if you already have, please share with a friend that you think might enjoy.